All right, and welcome to another interview with Teacher Accelerator member and Jessica Diaz. Thanks for joining us today.
And thank you for inviting me. I'm
Our
happy to be
pleasure.
here.
It's our pleasure to have you. And of course, let's dive in, and we want to kind of talk about your story and what you're doing before joining our program and working with us, and what you're doing now. And just to give a bit of background on you, you are a teacher, have your own business, you live and work in Brazil, and you have a course that
Yes.
you have that helps students improve their pronunciation. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct. So before
Amazing.
it all started, the online part of my career, what I do now, I used to work at a school and I actually never thought about having my own business. I was always
Okay.
like comfortable working for other people until the pandemic arrived. And then I saw myself at home with loads of extra time, and I decided to create a profile on Instagram. So I
Okay.
have my Instagram profile and everything, and I decided to create content. But I didn't take that very seriously until I noticed that students like the way that I talk about the language, the way that I teach, the way that I approach English learning and English teaching. So I started getting a few students, like 101, and like one
Okay.
here, one there. And eventually I'm like, okay, this could be something. But I have to be honest that I wasn't actually very comfortable with the, because when you come from a school, the school gives you everything you need. The school gives you the material,
Right.
the textbook, the methodology, everything you need. Although I went to college and I had like a teaching course in college,
Mhm.
it wasn't enough. It wasn't everything that I needed to be able to do what I do now. And I have to say that I actually told Leo this. I learned more in 1 year with learning English than 4 years in college
Oh wow.
because, yeah, that made me feel, how can I say, safe, not safe, but comfortable. Yeah, I guess that's the word.
Okay.
I'm comfortable with my confident as well, comfortable and confident with my teaching. So, yes, at the beginning, I wasn't that comfortable when I had these one on one students because
Okay.
it's like, what kind of textbook am I going to use? Like, what kind of materials should I use? How am I going to assess my students' knowledge? Because I used to have all the school materials, the tests, the report cards, the books, everything. So I had to kind of start from the bottom, you know,
Right.
like start from the bottom. And it was a little bit overwhelming. I felt really overworked because I was working for the school and I had my one-on-one lessons as well with the students.
Okay. So you're
So it
doing
was a
both at the
lot.
same time. You're working in the school and
I
you were
was
doing
do-
one-to-one lessons.
yes, I was doing one-on-one lessons and working at the school at the same time. So
Okay.
it was a tough. It took a toll on my mental health. I'm gonna admit,
Hmm.
and eventually, of course. But then I was like, I have to take this seriously. I have to choose, and I have to see what's gonna work best for me. So I decided to quit at the school, and I decided to take this teaching business more seriously, and that's pretty much where Learn Your English arrives,
Interesting.
right? That's when I started. I
What?
started. Okay, you can ask.
Sorry for interrupting. What made you? So two questions, two-part question. First of all, before the pandemic, had you taught online at all before?
No,
Never.
no, it was, yeah. So I started 2 years ago because of the pandemic. I
Okay.
was at home with free time. I created the Instagram profile and everything. Students started approaching me like, I really like you. I really like your English tips. So
Okay.
could you be my teacher? And I was like, all right, let me give this a try and see if I like this.
Okay.
So I
Okay. And
had to
then,
figure everything out while doing it. I
what
didn't
was
get prepared and then
the biggest factor that made you convinced that you wanted to make that jump from leaving the comfort of a school to like just leaving it, not even doing both at the same time, like leaving it and then starting your own business? What was the main factor, driving factor of that?
First of all, but I can make my working hours. So I hate waking up early, and to go to school, I had to wake up like 5:30, and I hated that. Also, bureaucracy, some things at the school I did not agree with and I wasn't happy doing, but I had to do it because it was part of the curriculum or part of the institution's ideology, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I wasn't happy with that either. And with my one-on-one lessons, I started to notice that I could help people actually develop, because when you're in a classroom with 30 students, you don't actually have much time to work on your students' needs. And with my one-on-one lessons, I could actually see, okay, I can actually help this student. I can, make an improvement here. I can start and choosing the way that I want to work, choosing the methodology that best suits me, best suits my personality, best suits my the way that what I believe in, and everything, my lifestyle and all that stuff. And
All right.
also the freedom of, okay, that's something that I don't want to talk about, or my student doesn't want to talk about, which is another thing about when you teach at a school, that the lesson is there and you have, although it's not relevant to your student, you have to go through that lesson because it's on the book. And with one-on-one or having your own course, you teach pretty much what is essential to your student, what is important to your student, and
Right.
also things that you believe in.
Got it. Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. And then, so you made that decision, you started to grow your one-to-one list a little bit, and that kind of, led you to us, or you found us somehow. Do you remember how you found us? And then what was that next step of your journey of you decided to become a part of our community? How did that come about?
All right. So if I'm not mistaken, actually one teacher that follows you recommended, like shared
Okay.
one one of your posts. And then I was like, all right, interesting. Let me take a look. And you guys followed me actually.
Okay.
And I just like, all right, I'm going to follow back because I really enjoyed their content. And then we started exchanging messages. I guess Leo contacted me, invited me to go live with him. We started exchanging. Actually, he corrected me because I said, I said something about English having 12 tenses, and he's like, look, there's only two. And I'm like, what? And he's like, yes, we have this amazing course, grammar for teachers. I'm like, all right, so I bought it. You convinced me.
Perfect.
So that was actually the first my first contact with Learn Your English methodology. And that was actually the first time that I saw that I took an online course, because before
All
that, all
right.
of my courses, they were face to face.
Right.
So that was the first time also that I took an online course. And I'm like, all right, this is something nice. You do things at your own pace. And then I started, what if I do something similar? What if I get some ideas here and start doing something to help my students? Because of course, when you get online, we see all of these English courses online promising a lot of things that, pardon my French, but a lot of bullshit and etc. And I'm like, that's not something that I want to do. I want to do something that is authentic and something that is actually going to help my students. And
Okay.
one thing that I thought about was I really like pronunciation, which is something that I'm constantly studying about. Because I was I was kind of worried about my pronunciation back then when I was a student. I
Okay.
wanted to sound like a native, all of those things. And then I was
Okay.
like, all right, I don't need to sound like a native. I can actually improve my pronunciation and speak clearly and communicate. And a lot of people complimented my English because of my pronunciation and etc. So I was like, all right, this is something that I'm really interested in, and I could help my students with that because they don't feel confident when they're speaking English, maybe because of their pronunciation.
Right.
And I had
Right.
this rough idea, and I decided to create a course, it was not a very long course, but I remember, okay, I have to add, I got some ideas from your courses. For example, I put a task, something
Okay.
to actually get your student, um, get the students using the knowledge that they're
Perfect.
learning
Yeah, so
and
let's talk
putting
about
it
that.
to
Like,
practice.
how did you come up with the idea to build a course? And then how did, working with us, how did that kind of move that process along?
All right, so um, a lot of pressure, as I said, to build my own course, but I didn't want to have like a from zero to advanced course, which is something that I personally do not believe in. I don't think a course can actually, a recorded course can actually help you develop from zero to advanced in 6 months, 1 year, or in 40 recorded classes.
Right.
So it's like, that's not something I'm going to do. I want to do something that is more like a tool. I want my students to have the tools, and I'm going to provide that like a toolbox. I thought about the course as a toolbox. So I'm going to give my students a toolbox, and they're going to use those tools to actually improve their English. So I decided to come up with this pronunciation course. But it was really focused on segmental features. So sounds, consonant sounds, vowel sounds, minimal pairs. I had a whole module on minimal pairs. And it was nice. The students liked it because, of course, it was something that they hadn't learned before. And they're like, okay, nobody ever taught me that. How come I have never heard of um, IPA before? I had no idea that
Right.
existed. And so it was helpful. But at the end, I was like, okay, I'm not getting the transformation that I want. And that's when you guys released the spa course, and I was like, all right, maybe this is what I need to actually give some clarity, to change what I need to change. So the spa course really put me in the right on the right path to create something more deep, and more meaningful to students actually working on their listening skills. Okay, you're studying pronunciation, but how is that going to impact your English production and your English
Right.
comprehension? So the whole course now, it's I changed the whole thing because of learning your
Oh,
English, because
so
of
you
the
took our
spa
course and then you
course.
changed your all of your course. You changed everything.
I changed
Interesting.
everything. Of course, there's still segmental features because I still believe that they're helpful and useful, and it's something concrete that students are like, okay, I learned this and I can actually apply because they can read the IPA, they can
Right.
recognize the sounds, so it's easier for students to actually grasp that. But when we go to intonation, to thought groups, and actually doing a more active listening practice to work on bottom up, top down listening strategies, like this is something that I learned. That's what I said, in 1 year with learning your English I learned a lot more than 4 years in college,
Okay.
because those things I didn't learn, I didn't know before, and I had to actually. And also another thing that learn your English helped me was to become more curious. So like if I want to learn something, I have to do my research. So I have to go after, not only be like, okay, I don't know that, or get a superficial answer from Google,
Hmm.
like 2 lines answer from Google. No, I'm actually going to do some research about this, understand the deep roots of that answer. It's not, English is not, okay, it's like this because it is. No, there is something behind it.
Right.
Languages develop in a way that there is a reason behind that
Yeah, I
transformation.
remember you're
Things,
really into corpus linguistics as well, and you're into corpora, looking up.
yes,
Right.
I'm
Okay.
really into corpora.
It's
And
okay.
every time my student asks me something, I'm like, let's go to scale. Yes, that's the most fun
Right.
part of my lessons,
A
because we can
question for
actually dig into the language.
Oh, I love it too. We love using that with students because it's autonomous. They can use it. They can find the answer for themselves, and they can use it when they're not with us, of course. What
Exactly.
and a lot of teachers kind of have these kinds of questions, and they're thinking about making their own course. They're doing their one to one. Either that's all they do, or they work in a school and they have one to one after, on the side as private students or whatever. And they're thinking about building a course, but they're hesitant because it's a big step. It seems daunting, right? So like what was
Yes.
your process there? And then maybe more importantly, what made you decide to incorporate, your one-to-one teaching into a course? Because there's this misconception that a course has to be completely asynchronous. You click a button, pay, thank you for your money, and see you later type of experience. What made you decide that, okay, I want to leave the school first. I want to have my own business. You started teaching one to one. You got a proof of concept with, okay, I'm really good at this. And that crosses with, I actually like pronunciation teaching. And then,
Mhm.
but I'm not happy doing only one to one sessions. I want to build a course. Like, what made you make that final leap to really kind of grow your business that way?
Well, when you have only one-on-one lessons, one-to-one, there's a limit. Like you're gonna have a limit of students, and even if you have like 20 students, that's too much. You're gonna be overworked and overwhelmed. So that's not something that I wanted. I'm not leaving school to be overworked with something that's gonna leave me trapped again, because that's the thing of having your online course, because you can be at the beach selling your course. You can be having spending, I mean, for me it's not about traveling, but having, as I said, this being overworked took a toll on my mental health. So it's like I want to have time to go to the gym, to do therapy, to have family time, to spend time with my family, with my friends.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't able to do that. I wasn't able to do all of those things. So I wanted to help more students, and I also wanted to have more time for myself, and also to develop myself as a professional, because I wanted to read more. I wanted to take other courses. There's so much things in the TAP course, and I'm like, I'm not able to see everything and actually kind of digest everything. So I need time to do all those things. So creating my own course made me have more free time, allowed me to have more free time. And also, I don't need to be packed with students. I can have fewer students, and students that are actually committed, because sometimes when we
Right.
I can actually choose the students that I want to work with. So I'm not going to be like desperate. Okay, a student left. Oh my God, what am I going to do? Because that's going to be a hole in my budget. I'm not going to have that money from that student. So I need another student. So you're like constantly desperate. So when you have your own business, when you have like it's like a way of making money that doesn't take as much energy as one-on-one lessons.
You don't have to
You
always
get
show
more.
up to earn money, right?
Exactly. So you're like, of course you still have to think about marketing strategies, a way to spread the word and make your course, like
A
make people
funnel.
interested in your, yeah,
Right.
exactly, make your people interested in buying your course, and etc. But once you have that methodology clear in your mind, once you have that very well, like you know what you're selling, you know exactly what kind of transformation you're selling, that's it sells itself,
How long did that
like you
take
just.
you? How long did it take you to be clear on your niche, so who you sell it to and what you sell and the transformation that you help your clients go through?
I'm not gonna lie, it took me a couple of months. I'd say I'm still like of course, still figuring it out.
Right?
But I mean, the first group, the first time I released my course, I was like, okay, I have no idea where this is going. It's just a leap of faith, and let me see where it takes me. And then that's what I tell other teachers too. Like, just do it. Sometimes we get so scared of doing something, and I believe that learning English is the same. The first course you probably created isn't your best course,
Oh my
and it's
god.
never going to be your best course. It's never going to be your best course, right? You have to actually do things so you can see where you can improve. And that's what happened to me. I did my first course. I recorded and everything, but it wasn't the perfect one. It wasn't everything that I wanted. It did.
Right.
Also, I got feedback from the students. So I was like, okay, this is how I need to improve. This is what I need to do to actually change what I'm doing, to
So
actually
important.
sell the transformation that I promise.
It's feedback.
So
This is the dirty secret I
feedback.
think that people need to know. Like when you look at successful business owners, yourself included, like it doesn't happen overnight, and the
Mhm.
public marketing vision that we have, it doesn't show the undersides of like we're always iterating, we're always changing, we're always improving. The MVC one that we call it, the minimal viable course, is going to be, the worst one that you create. But if you wait for it to be perfect, you're never going to create it. It's never going to
You're
happen.
never gonna create it.
And you get feedback
Exactly.
from the first people that go through it. You improve it, you make it better, and guess what? You can charge more the next time because it's better because you've got feedback.
That's one thing. My course right now is three times, I charge three times more than the first one I released. So
Okay.
like the first group that I had 1 year ago, I now it's three times more because I know what I'm doing. I know the transformation that I'm selling. I know exactly what my students are going to get. So you just start. You have to start. You have it's as I said, it's a leap of faith. You just start. You get feedback. You change along the way. So
Okay.
if you wait for the perfect moment's never going to arrive. You have to just start doing it.
Sage advice. And now, of course, the elephant in the room that everyone wants to know is the financial side of a business, right? So without divulging, too much personal information, of course, but from that initial version of you pre-pandemic, the before times, as we call them, working in a school, a couple of one-to-one clients versus now, how much, maybe in a percentage, how much more money are you making now with this type of business setup that you have?
I'd say three, sometimes four times more
Wow.
because yeah, since I do have some courses that I sell them in groups that are months that I don't have the group available, so you cannot enroll. But when I have those groups, I'm gonna get like 50 students at once.
Okay.
So I'm gonna get a lot of money. So and then the next month I'm fine because I had that extra cash last
There you
month and
go.
I don't have to hustle. I don't have to hustle. So I'm like, I'm okay. I'm okay. And with
And
my one-on-one, I make like twice as much as I used to do at the school and working
perfect.
less time. I have like 2 free days, which are not actually free days because I have my my business
Yes.
and I have the Instagram and everything, but like 2 days on the week in the week that I do not have one-on-one lessons.
Because that's
So
the other half of what people want to know too. And when they're considering making this jump, making this, decision is okay, 3, 4 times the amount of money, but are you working 3, 4 times the amount of hours? It seems like that's not the
no,
case.
no, I only work like Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Mondays and Fridays
Wow.
are business mode.
Love it. Love it. All right, Jessica. So I'll get you out of here with this. So, teachers that are watching this, teachers that are listening to this, considering, joining our Teacher Accelerator program, or who, maybe they're not familiar with Learn Your English, or myself, or Mike, or Leo, or what we do, if those people are considering following your path and starting their own business and starting a course, kind of basically what would you say to those people?
I would say take that leap of faith. And with Learn Your English, you're going to be safe, because you're going to know exactly what you're doing. You're going to have support. And it's not going to be easy for you to create your own empire, your own business, your own teaching empire. But with Learn Your English, you're going to be confident and you're going to know exactly what you're doing because you guys show the way. You do not only talk about theory, you teach us how to actually apply that, how to actually use that, and that makes us teachers more comfortable and more confident with what we're doing. All right, this might or might not work, but I know exactly what I'm doing and I know exactly what kind of results I'm looking for. So if that doesn't work, I can try something different. And teachers in the community, in the TAP, they're gonna have that support. So I highly recommend. 5 stars.
All right. Amazing. Thank you so much, Jessica Diaz. Thank you for this. Incredible. And we'll put your Instagram on the screen here so people can follow you and check out everything that you're doing as well.
Thank you, Andrew.